Devil Hunter's Chainsaw Man Chapter 185, titled Stomach in Another World, has given us the solution on how Denji is going to escape the aging world's dimension. Will we finally see the most fearsome devil face off against a primal fear? And it seems like humans in the world of Chainsaw Man are more capable of pulling off or grasping some type of hidden power, but will it be explored? Maybe yes, maybe no. Let's go ahead and take it from the top as the aging devil begins monologuing about how the realm has no escape and the forest is just a side effect of the human brain believing that turning into a tree is the culmination of all thought. So something really fascinating going on in this chapter. The aging devil admits that its ability didn't turn them into trees, it's a mechanism innate to humans, and when they reach this culmination, this enlightenment, maybe it's not enlightenment, but you know what I'm saying, and if they live longer, maybe they can discover unseen concepts and something that the aging devil is a bit curious to find out what it could be. The aging devil's a bit of a mad scientist and is just curious to see what humans are capable of. So I guess in the world of Chainsaw Man, humans, when they don't have to worry about food, water, or dying, they turn into trees. So this is not a byproduct of the aging devil's dimensional world. Now, this sounds fascinating, and I feel like this could be a foreshadow into something much more intriguing. But this is the part of me where I'm feeling a bit skeptical, and I think I'm accepting this is just kind of how Fujimoto writes things, right? And what do I mean by that? It's what I was saying in last week's video, where you have this interesting location, this concept, and instead of exploring more of that universe, Fujimoto just gives us the bare bones essential, and then we move from point A to point B. So what's a good example of this? Again, the prison facility. There could have been so many interesting things they did, but within 5 to 6 chapters, Awesome Family grabbed Denji and they got out. Nothing really big, right? Shout out to Gilly and the surgeons that were arguably the best part in the prison facility. And when we look at the aging devil's pocket dimension, what do we see? All the humans have transformed into trees. Every single tree in this pocket dimension are all humans. And we found out from, again, the unreliable narrator, the guy with the underwear, tells Asa and Yoru, hey, the deeper in the forest you go, the more insane you become. So I come out more in the open area, so I'm not as insane, although we clearly see how insane he is. We see Denji barf up the snow devil, we see Denji barf up the bitterness devil, and how could those things be associated or translated into the defeat of the aging devil? Maybe there's still something there, but what I'm trying to get at, you throw these interesting concepts and ideas, and Fujimoto doesn't really dive into them any further. So when you tell me this part in the chapter that, you know, humans have this mechanism, this innate mechanism to transform into trees once they reach this pinnacle of like thought, okay, that's interesting. I kind of want to know more about this, but do I think Fujimoto is gonna let us know anything more beyond that? Probably not. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm just saying, as cool as this is, instead of me theorizing, I begrudgingly just kind of like looked at Fujimoto and say, I know where you're going with this, and I don't think you're gonna go anywhere with it. That's just my take. I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. But after that, we see the aging devil. Look at the pose. Aging devil's acting like Chainsaw Man is their story. I love this panel right here. And of course, we see that old creepy dude, like one of the like Japanese, political figureheads, just saying like, oh my God, just being such this pathetic wuss, saying like, yes, aging devil, you're right. I want to become a tree or untap this hidden potential I have, not for Japan, but for the world, because I want to lead the world in the right direction. It's like, oh my God, you look so pathetic. You know, what's that thing they say when you get older, right? Or I think it's something maybe we all come to the conclusion when you get older is like, hey, dying is a natural process of life. Just kind of accept it and just know that, hey, the baton is going to be passed on to the new generation and hopefully they can pick up the slack from our generation. But I digress, because the aging devil throws it at Denji on how does a boy who's lived less than 20 years intend to escape when everyone else who's lived in this pocket dimension surely has not? And well, now this goes with the theorizing that we all guessed last week as to why Denji was running so much. Is it to make his heart grow and expand? No, it's actually a pretty much simpler explanation. He's running so he can get himself hungry. And if he can get himself hungry, that's going to make Pochito want to do something in the real world. But we'll get to that in a second, because then then this is where we see Asa telling Denji that she has crafted a weapon for him and using a tooth from one of the devils as the sharp edge, and Denji with the powerful swing chomps at one of the trees, causing its face to scream. The public safety victim screams that the trees are people, but Denji tells him that he's aware of that and continues, rupturing the bark and spilling the tree's guts everywhere. The paneling for this looks fantastic. It's also grotesque, but this is already what you should expect when you read Chainsaw Man. And what happens next is probably something even more disgusting, but it makes sense. Denji grabs those guts, starts consuming them, and then we see simultaneously in the real world how Pochita's ligaments now fully come together, and you just see this cool panel of like the muscle forming and some of his bones still being shown when he's like fully transforming back into his perfect form. And I think this is just an incredible panel of Pochita. But to be quite frank, anything with just Pochita, like prime Pochita, just looks awesome. So with that, this is where Denji says, "Now Pochita, I am counting on you." And with this perfect form, the aging devil says, "Oh, I see the plan now. Pochita's coming all the way to where we are at in public safety headquarters." And what is public safety going to do against a prime Pochita? But more importantly, are we actually going to get the thing that so many people speculated and debated about of like, what could Pochita do against a primal fear? Now, I still want to give the edge to the aging devil because we saw how impressive it was when it grabbed the gun goddess like bullet, right? The finger bullet, and just disintegrated it like it was nothing. And that same bullet is what heavily injured Pochita and why Asa and Denji was in the aging devil's world to begin with. So what is Pochita going to do? I'm not sure. I think if Pochita eliminates all the prime political member heads, right? Like from Japan, right? Like the old dude, that's certainly going to make the situation better for them. But to what extent, I'm not too sure about. And you also got to imagine, you know, public safety has all of the weapon / hybrids on their side and might leverage them, like Quan Chi trying to reunite her with her girlfriends to say, hey, you gotta like defend us, so now face off against Pochita. And are they going to stand a chance? Well, if we can go back to a simpler time when Makima and the weapons face off against Pochita, we saw how it turned out for them. But keep in mind that the aging devil is here, and now that we know the aging devil's diabolical plans of like why it wants to be eaten, and just see how humans kind of survive long enough to see if there's something else they can tap into. But Pochita being against the idea of eating the aging devil, how can Pochita actually get a decisive victory here? Just some food for thought. Speaking of food for thought, happy Thanksgiving to everyone watching this on Thanksgiving Day. If you are in America, if you're not in America, I hope you're just around your loved ones. Tell your loved ones how much you care about them. Eat some great food. And we still have some Chainsaw versus War playmats available on my merch store, nengarden.com. So be sure to pick one of those up. And to talk more about this in depth, check out the live reaction that we have right here. Take care.